Hello, folks, and welcome to the show. We are live. If you don't know me yet, my name is Mike Asherbranner. I am professionally known as the Redneck Connector and proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business. Folks, I am beyond excited. You know how that gets. Oh, man, we're going to dive deep, folks, into unbelievable. You guys know me. I like educators. I like people who build relationships. I don't like selling people, bald people haircuts. I don't like to be pushed and bothered. And today, that's what we've got for you. This is a subject that it took me too long to find folks who will just educate, tell me about the new exciting technology, especially as I get older, right, folks? And that's what we've got today. We're going to dig deep, all right, with a man who took grit, survival, and unstoppable vision and built a global digital empire the world's just now waking up to. Hold on to your hat, folks. We're going to roll this intro and we're going to bring these gentlemen up. I am super excited. And Lothar, hey, thank you for this coming already. He's bright and early. Good to see you in Frankfurt, Germany. All right. Germany's in the house. Let's get this party started, folks.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbranner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
All right. You all know I don't do Friday at 9 a.m., so we are excited. And we're going to do this again, so maybe you're watching this on Wednesday. But we're going to get this party started, folks. Special edition. You know I like to run things like a front porch conversation with boardroom strategy. We're going to do that today, but we're also talking about the future of land, legacy, and ownership itself. Before we get too deep into the revolution that is DaMeta1, let's bring up the man who made this in the forefront of my face. And helping lead the charge. My good friend, trusted connection, Dr. Jeffrey Berger. Let's bring him out. How are you this morning, big dog? You're on mute, though.
Okay, there we go. Thanks, Mike.
I'm contagious.
Hey, everybody. I was coughing before, and I said, I got to mute myself. So how's everybody doing?
Too. Oh, I am pumped. 9 a.m. I think it's 9 p.m. I'm so daggum excited. We got the man himself back there. So, Jeff, I just wanted to say thank you. I really do. I appreciate you being in the Hounds of Business for quite a while now, maybe going on, 2 years almost?
Coming up to 2 years.
Wow. And I just want folks to know, because this is our way. I've seen you day after day, just grinding, learning, humble, grinding, little to show for it, just like a farmer, right? You plant a seed, you come look at the seed, nothing's happening, must not work. Right, that's what we think, especially in entrepreneurship. We come back the next day, we dig the seed up. It must not be growing. That's the problem, right? And we're going to talk to a man who also knows this and been there and done that. But Jeff, I just wanted to say, I've never seen a tenacity, determination, and a personal responsibility like I have in someone like you, buddy. So that's why you're here. I'm honored to have you guys, honest, integrity, and exploding, right? And so folks out there who are scaling up, starting up, this is you. I hope you not walk away just inspired, but armed with what's happening in the near future. And that's it. All right. That's what we're about. So Jeff, take it away, buddy. Introduce yourself, and then, we're going to bring the man up.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here with you today at 9 a.m. in the morning, which is early for you. But I am the founder and CEO of Abundance and Optimum Wellness, where I believe today we all should be living a life of abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. So I take a finance first approach to encompassing overall well-being around the future of true wealth, a digital revolution, and where true wealth isn't just about money, it's about having the tools to creating an abundance and optimum wellness. And I'll share a little bit more about that later today. But what I'm really, really excited about is our special guest today. He is someone who has been an incredible guiding light on my journey since July of 2022. And that's Dr. Tahir Hussein, who I was first introduced to what seemed like a bold and really an unconventional business opportunity. I'll admit I was skeptical, but it reminded me of a moment back in 2009 as an ex-software engineer. I was approached with the opportunity of purchasing 500 Bitcoin at 0.0017 cents. That's an 85-cent investment. And my response, nah, sounds like a scam. And today we all know how that story unfolded in the world of blockchain today. So this time I chose to stay open-minded, and I spent the next 2 months back in July of 2022 researching and engaging in meaningful conversations with Dr. Tahir and the gentleman from Frankfurt, Germany, Sir Lothar Rapior, who is on the call today, the gentleman who introduced me to this incredible ecosystem. And so Dr. Tahir is, generously shared not only his knowledge about these emerging technologies, but also his wisdom rooted in traditional real estate, which is where he got his start, and why he strategically integrated this business model into his thriving business portfolio alongside his transformational work as the founder of the Unstoppable Millionaire coaching platform. Doctor, this is a plug for you. So Dr. Tahir has since been more than a business partner. He's a trusted friend, a mentor, and a personal coach. I'm both humbled and grateful for the role he's played in my life. I'm truly excited for what he is about to share with everybody today. Take it away, Mike.
First of all, thank you for that. And yes, it's a shameless plug, well earned. I can't wait to finish reading that book. And is it Lothar? Hey, it is German. I love it. It's a German descent. So my name, absolutely. I'm probably, 75% German. We got a big background. So thank you for showing up, brother. And I'll tell you what, let's get the man of the hour up here. Someone who builds empires and turns scars into strategy is now leading the charge into a future most folks don't even understand yet. So Tahir Hussein, the unstoppable millionaire himself, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such a delight to be here. Dr. Jeffrey, thank you for that. A lovely introduction. Mike, thank you for putting all of this together and all the amazing stuff you're doing. I'm excited. I am excited to see how I can add value to our audience today. So let's get going.
You could not. You always bring value, even if you try not to, buddy. And that's I don't exaggerate. I just tell the truth. So I've heard a lot, bits and pieces of your story. A lot of folks have heard bits and pieces of it. And it's the kind that don't leave you. You don't forget it. So I want to start right at the beginning, right? Not with the highlight reel, but with the best and the hardest part. What's one moment from your childhood and early struggles that shaped the way you build today? Because it's not really that common. Not just your business, but your mindset.
That's a great question. I think that's a really important question, because when someone looks at someone successful, they think, that's on me, without realizing where they come from. There is something to it that gets you to a certain place. And I think that's where, I think for me, my defining factor was in college, not so much when I was in school. I was a nerd, A-grade student. I thought I'd get the best grades and I would probably be a billionaire. In my head, I thought that's what's going to happen. But when you start realizing and coming into real life, you feel like you were cheated or you were told a lie. And then you start exploring the world of entrepreneurship, which is pretty cool. Today, in today's era, wasn't so cool back then. And my turning point was when I wanted to go to United States, keeping in mind, I grew up in Dubai, lived my entire life there. All I wanted to do was go to US, get educated. I'm a software engineer by qualification. I did get educated in US, but the idea was we didn't have the money to go from Dubai to US and get all the education needed. Also keeping in mind that the US has over $1 trillion in student debt. That's a topic maybe for a different day, but yes, so that was a point where after having a discussion with my parents, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out, hustle, make some money, and figure it out. And in the process of doing that, I started realizing this is all happening at the age of 17, when I'm like, let's go and hustle. I was someone who never shied from working. I thought that you always had an unfair advantage coming from humble upbringings, as long as you could hustle and make a point and prove a point. The advantage I had was growing up in Dubai, where The king at that time was building the world's tallest, biggest. We would ski on ice in a desert, in a mall. That kind of idea, building Palm Jumeirahs and building iconically unheard of great stuff then in the early 2000s. Fast forward, I was able to build a $1 million business at the age of 2021. And then the story carries on. But that, I think, became a defining moment when I started realizing that there's tremendous amount of wealth in the world, and it follows when you add value. And that became my core till today. And the add value part, I had beautiful parents who taught me that as a child, that, no matter what you do, open a door, smile, say please, and start adding that value. And I think those things I hold dearly till today and always will, regardless of the success story or where we are or where we are going, because that gives you tremendous power. That keeps you rooted. That keeps you humbled, regardless of the successes you go through. And I think that was my first turning point, and a pretty big turning point towards the entrepreneurship journey and moving in that direction.
Hey, Mike, you're on mute.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. Hey, it's 9 a.m. here. All right. I find that remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. The hounds are going nuts right now, friends of the hounds, because we can relate to this, And one of the things about you, no matter how successful you get, no matter how big you grow your empire, you stay humble. And that's why I couldn't wait to have you here. I mean, because that's the truth. And that's who you're talking to right now. So this is going to be amazing, brother. Let me ask you, if you don't mind, let's get to the heart of this, because a lot of folks struggle with this, and I want them to hear from somebody who's been there and done that. Was there a rock bottom moment that made you say, I'm just not going to survive, I'm going to lead? Was there a catalyst in your life where, you could have stopped and quit, but you didn't and you thrived?
Absolutely. I think we all do. And I don't think we plan for it. I don't think anyone teaches you when a rock bottom happens, this is what you need to do. We don't. I haven't read those books. So what happened with me was, probably at the peak of my career, I started realizing that there were things I was doing wrong. The Wall Street crisis happened, the housing crisis of the 2008 crisis, and I think that's when I started hitting my rock bottom, financially speaking. And again, finance was not as much of a challenge for me than the emotions and relationships that I valued, because I started seeing those fall apart, and I started realizing that what was my foundation standing on. So a rock bottom is a point when you think you have hit the rock bottom and you still keep sinking. It's important to understand that. And that's where a natural tendency of a human being, including mine, or any other person who is a human, is that you start sinking, you start realizing you're in a free fall, if that makes sense. You think there is no hope. You think you're done. You think that's about it. And in that moment, I still remember this beautiful quote that I think my sister told me. She said that in the sea of darkness, I found that hope floats. It's very powerful. It hit me very differently. And I'm like, wow, having hope is a big deal, especially when you're going bottom down. Yeah. And my changing factor in the moment was, when I was going down, it was all about me, why this can happen to me. It was too selfish. It was real, but it was still too selfish. What I didn't realize was, when I went down, I took the people who loved and cared for me down with me. Whether they were smiling on my face, whether they didn't show it to you, but they felt it. I mean, we as human beings are smart enough to understand that. And I couldn't stand that. I could understand if it happened to me, but I couldn't stand that with the relationships that were getting impacted. And that's when my enough became enough. And the beauty of that was, the harder you fall, the stronger you bounce. Becoming a millionaire, again, I didn't lose millions of dollars. That was one aspect of it, relationships. Then you start building meaningful relationships. The Unstoppable Millionaire Academy that Dr. Jeffrey spoke about was a byproduct of that. Maybe I wouldn't have had that academy. Maybe I wouldn't be on calls like this, empowering people, because I was on a whole different journey. And I started realizing that there is tremendous power in understanding value if you can give it to someone through other people's experiences, even before they could face it, or a hope that if you have gone through, someone might be in the same place, and hence the empowerment and the idea of empowering the masses and going out through technology, through empowerment, through so many other sections, through this beautiful platform, Mike, that you're running. And then I think that became a defining factor for me. And then I said, never again. It's okay to take a hit. It's okay to get bruised. It's okay to get injured. But as long as you get the strength to get back up, and hence the word the unstoppable was born in my life because of that. That how do you defeat someone who is just unstoppable? You simply can't. So great question, Mike. That's just my story there.
Hey, great answer, great story, because it's real. And I'm not so eloquent. Everybody knows that. I call it the honey badger resilience. Yeah, the honey badger. I didn't realize that's probably the baddest animal on the planet, probably from another world. But folks, I wanted you to hear that. You know, you hear me say it and other folks say it. This guy is tried and true. Thank you for being so open and vulnerable, Tahir, to share that, because it is. This is probably the roughest game I've ever engaged in. Building a business, right? Building a movement, making an impact. It goes beyond just making money. It's making an impact, man. It's leaving a legacy. So let's jump into that. And I want Jeff to chime in here too. So this is the DaMeta1 Revolution. This is fascinating to me. I'm curious. Like April Wyatt is in the audience. She's the most curious person ever, and that's why she's winning, right? Exploring. So before we get into it, I want folks to understand something clear. This ain't just some virtual land grab type of thing, or just some flash in the pan, right? It's backed by giants, right? We're talking Microsoft, Amazon, Google. So explain this to us. How was this born? How was the DaMeta1? How was the vision born? And when did you know you were building something way bigger than just a regular platform? I mean, building a whole world movement here.
So again, Mike, lovely question. And the reason is because you're asking questions that are so important, because once you understand the origin of an idea, a movement, and what gave birth to it, you start understanding the power it commands and brings, and then the rest becomes history. So the idea behind the Meta was an idea. Three and a half years ago, the idea was that could we take the real and show that in the digital, not the other way around.
Right.
So as we're getting more tech-based, just like being on this platform, we are in two different continents and covering so much data, so much information, and the world from a tech point is growing consistently. So our goal was to start with 5 continents in the metaverse. And just to give you a layman example of what a metaverse is, just to keep it as real as I can, think of it as a digital space that blends aspects of the physical world, the virtual reality, augmented reality, and even if you don't understand augmented reality, that's okay, creating, and this is important, an actionable plan that is more interactive, engaging, with an online experience from the comfort of your own home. So the idea was, so that's metaverse, if I put it simply. The idea was, can we take education, can we take real estate, can we start putting this in the metaverse, total immersion, 360 degrees, and let people feel from the comfort of their home what that could look like. So one of the goals of the Meta was, of course, education, because that's serious empowerment. And how better to do that by getting in schools and parents and teachers and students, all of that into a totally immersive world and creating that. So initially, I was like, it was a white paper, which means it was just an idea. And as I'm reading through it, I'm like, I'm on board. I'm crazy, if you would, in that sense. I'm like, what? You're going to do all of that? I'm in.
Right.
The impact of what it would do, as you mentioned, the media publications, the big giants, none of that was there. It was just an idea, right?
Right.
Now, once the idea was like understood, we were like, okay, now how do we execute it? And then the rest becomes history. But that's how it started. It started with an idea that no one has done, executed, because it takes a lot to do all of that in terms of resources, human resource, tech resource, getting noticed. There's just a long list of things, but it started with an idea crazy enough to challenge a norm. Think about, even in US, think about textbooks and what textbooks should be there in schools and what shouldn't be there. Massive debate. We are talking about not just that education sector, but we're talking about how can we get educated people who are called academically dumb. I know in US you don't call them, but in Asia that happens a lot in schools and colleges, and then give them better tools because they're not, no human being is dumb, academically or otherwise. It's our lack of making them understand things. So the metaverse makes it so much convenient and easy. Like what I used to learn in a month, and I was a good student, an A grade student. What I used to learn in a month, students for this generation, primary school, secondary school, will be able to do that in days, if
Right.
not in hours. And I'm not saying something futuristic. I'm saying something that we have today that can make that happen. So it's just insane when we think about that.
No, I love the heart. We're going to get into the how to. I wanted to make sure folks out there understood, you know, bringing value, educate. I mean, sometimes these are catchphrases. You guys did it. First of all, you took an intangible idea and people bought into that idea. And that's special. And I want everybody out there, because I see the folks in the comments. This is it, right? Your idea, your pain, your determination. I've seen Jeff do it. He's won people over because they saw who he was, and then they saw his heart, his impact, and then they came into the value. You know, because a lot of this stuff is foreign to us. We don't understand it. And I love what you said. We're not dumb. We just don't know. We don't know what we don't know, dadgummit. And so you put your money where your mouth is, as we say in the South. So thank you for that. Jeff, anything you'd like to add to this? Because I know you guys are a team.
Yeah, sure. Tahir really nailed it. Slammed it with the hammer on the top of the nail. But let me say this, because Tahir talked about the hope floats and value from others' experiences and tools. And then you just mentioned people bought into it. And me being an ex-software engineer, when I was introduced to this in 2008, I really was introduced to the real estate aspect of this whole ecosystem that we're actually building. So what I share with people today is think about, today we are in a paradigm shift. One of the biggest paradigm shifts in mankind. And think back decades ago about Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, and Amazon. They were revolutionizing their technologies back then. And those people who saw that vision bought into that vision. And look at where those companies are today. That's where we are today with blockchain technologies, because there's a lot of technologies out there like real estate tech, financial tech, educational tech, artificial intelligence, and the metaverse. So what is great about this is that, and very unique, is that we're combining all of these technologies into our ecosystem, which really gives a competitive edge to other products and services that are out there. And I encourage people, step into your uncomfortable zone and start getting comfortable to learn this, because blockchain is here. It's here to stay. It is the future. And to remain stagnant is to be left behind. And you don't want to be left behind, because your grandkids, your great grandkids, and the kids after that, the old days are over. We're moving on into the digital world. And that's where I say the future of true wealth is a digital revolution. Thank you.
Sure. Let's jump into it, because I know a lot of folks are scratching their heads because we just don't hear a lot of it, right? Like you said, Tahir, we're not educated in formal channels of school and things like this. So let's break it down redneck style for the folks at home in the office right now. What in the world is these things? Tokenized real estate, all of these things, blockchain, and why would everyday investors and people care about it?
Great again. And let me start with real estate. Literally all of us listening in right now are in one. You're either owning one or you're sitting or leasing one, right? You could be in an office, in a house, in a living room, wherever that is, you're in a real estate, in a property. So imagine if I said that there is a property in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, that you could sit in the comfort of your living room and walk in it. Look at the views, look at the bed, look at the curtains, look at the television, look at whatever you want to look at that's in that property, in a building. Take a lift, go up and down, all of that from the comfort of where you're sitting, except that it's not digital, it exists somewhere on the planet. You would be like, what are you talking about? Because that sounds too good to be true. But the reality is it's happening in the metaverse. Now, this is one of the products, if you would, of the metaverse that's ongoing right now. But I'll give you another example that you would understand. Think of watching National Geographic or Discovery. Think of watching it on your biggest screen or on a projector or in a cinema. Now imagine being in that historical channel, history channel or National Geographic, and you've got dolphins and whales passing through your legs in the metaverse. The same technology that you were watching on 2D or 3D is now in metaverse, where you could literally pause, zoom, and check whatever you want to check on that particular documentary, as an example. So metaverse allows you to do that. The best example would be sci-fi movies, Hollywood movies, Minority Report, Tom Cruise, just doing things like that. And you're like, oh, that sounds cool. And this is a pretty old movie. The other example I would give for those who are into Hollywood movies would be Ready Player One. It was a movie that came out in 2018 where the character is literally wearing what we call the metaverse goggles or the meta quest. And while that looks sci-fi, a lot of what was in that movie actually is happening today, that you could literally transport yourself. You could be in a chemistry lab making mistakes, with the wrong chemicals and with zero consequences. That's happening in the metaverse right now. So what we are doing is we are just enhancing your current experience in the industries we just spoke about in a way that challenges you to your next growth level, in a way that allows you to. Another example is, imagine you walk into a room, you're buying a one-bedroom apartment, you walk into a room, you pick up the bed that's lying there, and you say, I don't like the bed to be here, can I throw it there, and can the view get better? One example, I don't like the color of the paint, can I paint this wall yellow and this one blue? Let's see how that looks. So you could do all of that in metaverse in 360 degrees, total immersion, which means it looks really real, as good as it would really look in real life. And you can change all of that if you don't like it before you physically go and do that in an apartment. That's another example of it. So these are some examples, but I'm not giving you something futuristic. I could take the same goggles that Jeffrey was pointing at, scan my entire living room, and the AI would know what is a couch, what's a dining table, what's a chair. I can resize it, throw it elsewhere, redesign it, all of that before I lift my finger to move an actual table or a couch as well. So these are some examples of what the metaverse is doing from a technological point of view. And I believe that we are going to go from this is a pretty big looking device, to something as simple as this. That's where we're going with this, because the technology, the hardware, all of that is advancing. This is almost the first version of metaverse. What do you think the fifth version would look like? Mind-boggling.
Yes, and you know what? High-tech redneck, all right, you heard it. So Nicole Borgie, she's in the comments. She's the one that explained this to me a few months ago, not that long ago, maybe half a year ago. And it blew my mind. My camel hat just blew off my head, because what I didn't realize is that famous singers, actors, like, this is a thing. Now, how did I not see this? This is not future. This is now, and it's evolving, right? And this is why it's fantastic. So there's so many aspects to this, and I want to break it down for the folks, simplistically. And thank you for that. Jeff, you have something quick you want to add? Because I know you love this subject.
No, Tahir did a great job. So go take it over and break it down for the audience.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, explain this. What made you jump into tokenization, Tahir, back in 2019 when most people didn't even know what that was? They didn't even have it on the wording then. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even know about it.
See, my nature and my academy, same thing, is that I love the underdogs. Dubai was an underdog. I mean, no one knew about Dubai 20 years ago. Today, it's everywhere. Fly Emirates, Dubai this, Dubai that, right? I mean, I come from that city. So the reason I love the underdogs is because it gives you an opportunity to go and do something. So while my real estate experience allowed me to make the rich richer, buying millions of dollars in properties, and they be making hundreds of millions of dollars, but for an average layman, an average common man, that wasn't easy. So
Right.
when the idea of tokens existed before metaverse, but when I was offered tokenization, fractionalization of an actual asset, fraction means a common person with $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 could tap into an actual brick and mortar real estate that could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Never before the tokenization technology, a common man stood a chance to tap into such an asset class because that was for the people of the rich. That's what got me so freaking excited. I'm like, oh my God. And fast forward 3, 4 years, less than 2 weeks ago, we were reading an article in one of the biggest newspapers in Dubai that said that one of the tokens was sold under 4 minutes, and in the next 7 years, only in Dubai, $18 billion of real estate, actual real estate, would be sold through tokens, and that's just one tiny city
Wow.
on the globe. So just imagine the impact it's going to create, because now the masses would get to tap into a multi-trillion dollar global industry thanks to the technology of tokenization.
Holy cow. Yeah, it is. And I put this up for folks to see this. This idea, right, that didn't have any tangible legs a few years ago has exploded and it's just starting, right? And this is what I find intriguing. Just from a educational standpoint, I found this extremely intriguing. And so, Jeff, you have anything you want to add or
Yeah, no, I do want to say something here. And, when I was introduced to this back in July 2022, my whole thought was, I don't have the money to invest in high-end hotel resorts and luxury, apartment condominium living spaces. But again, I mentioned I was open to getting educated. And when I learned what it was really all about, that changed my whole mindset, and being receptive to getting that information and getting educated. And it has basically changed my financial future in ways that I've never, ever expected. So I encourage people, get educated, just get some education and get that knowledge to make that decision in the future. And again, thanks to Dr. Tahir and to Lothar for getting me started on that path to educating myself.
absolutely. So what I hear you guys saying, because I'm learning a lot right now. This is seriously like curiosity. I'm learning as we're talking here. You guys, and I love what you said. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tahir. You're making this affordable and accessible to the rest of us, folks like me who don't maybe have gazillions of dollars and et cetera. And you don't have to do that. That's what's remarkable. You guys are out there looking to help people. You're putting back into causes out there that are dear to our hearts. You're helping people. You guys are firing all cylinders here. And I find that absolutely amazing because we see it all the time. We see the verbiage, but do we see the action behind that verbiage? And that's why I love Jeff. He's all about it. He's humble. He's trying to grow. We make mistakes, but we fix them. We're honest. And that's what I mean, because there's so much noise out here, guys. And I'm not bashing anyone. I'm just saying, when I looked into to learn more, all I saw was nonsense. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's me. But you guys kind of cleared the path and said, hey, let me explain this. And then what? There's no then what. Just let me explain it, right? There it is. And then guess what I did? Tell me more. Like, I was intrigued. I said, well, how does that work? How does this work? It was an April Wyatt move, like, I just want to know how things work. And that really intrigued me. But I was turned off by how a lot of folks approached me with these kinds of subjects when they talked about these things. And I just appreciate your all style. That's why I'm honored to have you. So correct me if I'm wrong, Tahir. DaMeta1, right? It grew over what, 1,200% in like 2 years. Is that the right?
Right. So let me explain a little bit, because when we said 1,200%, tell that to a banker. Uh, you would lose them, right? Because
Right.
when we look at financial models, it just doesn't fit into any box. It doesn't even fit into a real estate box of paying that kind of money. And I think that's really important. If you don't mind me elaborating a little bit on what you just said, you
Yeah,
said something
please,
really
because
important.
the U.S. market's pretty much wide open. Please explain it.
Correct. So let's go back 3 years ago when I did mention we had was what we call a white paper in the tokenization world, which means that there is an idea and one day we will execute and make that happen, right? So that's called a white paper. Before we had the metaverse, which was the one metaverse. So at that point, the company decided to launch the tokens at $0.06, which means that if you're buying in, you're believing in a concept and the company that's going to make that a living proof. Fast forward 36 months, approximately 36 months, it sits at 80 cents, which brings the percentage growth of 1,200% in a 36-month span. Now, a lot of you who don't understand the percentage, I'll give you a dollar value. So if you had $10,000 on a concept, maybe it wouldn't have worked, but it did, right? In 36 months, that could look like $130,000. And I'm not saying this will happen again. What I'm saying is this has already happened in the last 36 months with the metaverse when it comes to the tokenization on the dollar value of it. And it's just a lot of money from a passive income point of view. And the reason it happened, and I'm not telling you we never knew it was guaranteed. There are no guarantees. But the reason it happened is because as the things I just described on the properties and the education and the chemistry labs, as these things started to build up, you're holding an equity of a metaverse. So when the value goes up, the dollar value goes up. I mean, we understand that logic. So the key growth for the company was to keep building the value, keep bringing the schools and the teachers and the parents and the students, keep adding more real estate and properties and all of that. As they started building it, it cost millions of dollars. Hundreds of people just to be on board full-time working in-house to make that magic happen. When you put them on, you can take two molecules of hydrogen, one of oxygen, and create water in the metaverse, in a chemistry lab. One real example. And I think that's what has already happened. And that is before what you saw on your screen with all our media articles and the Forbes and all of that. That's before all of that. So you can only imagine what from now, the next 12, 24, and 36 months could look like.
Jeff, if you don't mind, chime in here, man. What is in your own words, right, from your own perspective, what does this mean for everyday folks who are looking to get in early, right? What before it goes mainstream and everybody, just like TVs and everything else that was at a start, and now it's common.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the way I look at it is we're in a world where we have centralized systems and decentralized systems, and there are different technologies on either or. We happen to be on the decentralized, and we're basically a startup. We're getting ready to launch this project, just like Microsoft launched Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, and their software applications. That is where we are today, but we are on the decentralized platform. So it's an opportunity to getting in on the ground floor, because I've talked to so many people who wanted to get in early on with some of these companies, but they were a little skeptical. They were a little scared. They didn't have the information to make an educated decision. And that's what we're here for, is to share that information, to say, hey, we're backed by industry giants, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, We just signed a 2-year contract with Google. We've been written up in Forbes magazine. So that is saying something. The other thing too is that we've got global headquarters, in Istanbul, Turkey, Abu Dhabi, and London, and San Jose, California. So we're getting that information out to the masses here, especially in the United States, because we have a massive, massive market. So that's where I shared that general knowledge is like, we're in a world today where things are changing, and why not take a look at it, because it's going to change the future in 3 to 5 to 10 years down the road, and you want to be a part of that.
Absolutely. Thank you for explaining that, because again, this is all about education. I just want to know things. I don't ever tell people what to do. I just want to make sure that the noise, because I've seen so much just nonsense in the space, and social media, it's free and everybody can jump on it. So this is one of the things, like, hey, want folks to know, because when people know, like Tahir said earlier, when people have the information, they can make an informed decision. Right, that's it.
Right.
Hey, here's what somebody says, Mike, there's a hot dog. I can say yes or no. I know what a hot dog is. I know how it works. I know, and I can make a decision. I know I'm goofy, but hey, that's my trademark. So before we wrap it up, don't leave, folks, because I want to make sure that, folks who want to learn more, you learn more. If not, tell a friend who wants to learn about this and be educated. So I could go on and on with you guys, man. I love this convo, and legit, I'm learning a lot. All right. So this is why I wanted to have this, because I'm not an expert by no means. I'm learning, and I appreciate that. So let me go ahead and jump to what my favorite part. I always end these calls and these live streams, what I call like a legacy gut check. So Tahir, let's say 10 years from now, your great grandkids watching this live stream, and what's that one truth you'd want them to hear about your business, about your resilience, about building something that lasts?
Absolutely phenomenal. Mike, I'm just loving your questions. They're just so real and so practical. 10 years from now, imagine this. Fast forward, and I want our audience to understand this. This question is not just for me and the answer, but imagine wherever you are in your life right now, 10 years from now, your children, your grandkids knew you were on this call. What did you do about it? So I'll leave that question for the audience. You're more than welcome to reply in comments as well. For me, what's important is 10 years from now, I would be telling my kids, my grandkids, that there was something crazy happening. I happened to be in a room there, and I said, what if it works? And I jumped in. The example that I gave you, when they were just a white paper, an idea, a concept, I did jump in. I was in the room. So make sure, so one, figure out where those rooms are and be in those rooms. Second, make a decision, because you can see it happen and you can see the train leave the platform, or you could step in it. I decided to step in it. I decided to say, what if this does work out? And I believed in the team and the company and the people around it. I don't think I'm a genius when it comes to that, but I did have the guts to do that, because it could have gone south, but it didn't, right? In this example. So having the guts to do that, and then teaching those kids and grandkids that, look, life will give you opportunities, and we think they're unlimited and they will keep coming. The reality is they're not. You will have 1, 2, maybe 3, maybe 5 if you push it really hard. You're proactive, you're out there. That could drastically change the direction of your life, emotionally, relationship wise, financially, in specific. And imagine all you did was nothing, because you would have realized getting older that, oh my God, I could have done so much more. And I just want to add something else. There was an interview done among people who were 80 and above, if I'm not wrong, before COVID, and they were asked what was their number one regret. It was not about losing money. It was not about, I didn't marry this person or whatsoever. It was about missing out on the opportunities that life offered them, and they didn't take action on because they just don't know what life could have been otherwise. And that really sunk in for me, because I was imagining myself being 80 and talking about all the crazy experiences I've had where things did work and didn't work, right? So that's what I would be telling my kids and grandkids, what that would mean for them.
See why I want to be. I want to be like you and Jeff when I grow up. That's the heart of it, folks. You know, not recklessly, right? With wisdom, with education, with that peace. That's what we're talking about. And it doesn't matter if it's this or anything. I love that, because if you're not writing that book, right, and you say, well, I'm not a writer, and then it keeps eating at you, right, and you keep pushing it down, and it keeps coming up. Let us tell you, if you took nothing away from this, stop trying to suppress it. It ain't going away. All right, go take baby steps. Is that right, Tahir? Because you're the man. Hey, take the baby steps,
Yes.
explore it. That what I hear you saying, and folks in the comments, and Jeff, you're talking about living adventure, right? The highs, the lows, the wins, the losses. This you're taking this, you're living life. You're just not settling. You're not saying, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. You have something to share with the world, dadgummit. Go out there and start figuring out how to share it. Because guess what happens? You meet folks like this, right? And maybe one day you're in a live stream and you get to talk to folks like this. Yeah, I want y'all to hear this. And shameless plug, that's why we got the Hounds of Business, right? We don't want strays running around out there, falling through the cracks, running out of money, heart, inspiration. Dadgummit, plug in with like-minded people, right? If you're floating around out there, hey, check us out. We're not the only option, but we are an option for you. So let me ask you this, and I want to get to both you gentlemen, because you all have some offers and things that people can take away if they're ready. But yeah, this kind of, I can't even talk, y'all. Look at me. Jeff, let me get you, because if there's folks who want to learn more, if there's folks that go, man, I'm finally glad somebody made sense, because even Rick Meakin said, no, I've never heard of this before you guys. And Rick is a great, brilliant business strategist. So there's a lot of folks that don't know. Jeff, where can folks that want to learn more go? Like, what's the next step, brother?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. But let me just add real quick what Tahir just spoke about. And what we're really here for is we're here to help those busy entrepreneurs, those busy individuals, because we're in a very fast-paced world. We're helping them to navigate today's emerging technologies, the blockchain technologies specifically, who are really looking to diversify their financial portfolios by introducing them to ground floor breaking opportunities that are already accredited by industry giants like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, just to list a few. So for those that are interested, I do monthly webinars. I do scheduled ones. I do non-scheduled ones where people reach out to me and do one-on-one webinars. But if you want to talk to me directly, scan that QR code, set up a Zoom call. Let's have a conversation. I do 5 scheduled per month. I'll put the link in the comments section on the associated social media platforms. And I am running a very, very special July 2025 special enrollment incentives. So for those that are interested, you need to reach out to me to get the specific details. But I encourage you to reach out, get educated, because things are happening at a rapid pace, and we're right around the corner from going live with this, because we will never see this particular opportunity with the DaMeta1 token, which is basically a share in this project that the company is a flagship project. We'll never see 80 cents. It's scheduled to launch between $2 and $5. That is the anticipated launch price. So reach out and let's have a conversation.
There you go, folks. And again, I just can't get over it. Thank you for, putting people's best interests first. And that's how I felt when I said, hey, these guys really just want to share things, man. That's what impresses me beyond belief. There's so much noise out here. And it's just good to know I can have a conversation without, somebody blowing up my DMs constantly, chasing me around like a dog catcher, right? We're bug zappers. So, folks, is there last things that you guys want to share? Anything from your heart, just something that can really move people in any aspect of their life? Not here, just anything. Like, hey, they got that burning desire, but they keep pushing it down. All right, the floor is yours.
Dr. Tahir, you
Right.
go first.
Sure. So my 2 cents on the audience listening right now, live and on the recorded sessions, is there have been opportunities in your life, not because you were smart or not smart, not because you were at the right place or at the right time, simply because they were there. The fact that you could get the courage to get educated, to take action, and move forward is important. For example, when we talk about metaverse, I'm pretty sure you all think I know everything. I don't. What I do know is that I can count on the hundreds of people behind the scenes who make me look good, who make Dr. Jeffrey look good, who make us look good, because we are on the same mission, sharing the same thing. This was a baby step for me just 36 months ago. And today I could be doing interviews like this and being on Forbes for as far as the company is concerned, and all the billion-dollar companies we're talking about who have endorsed that, who are a part of us. But that was one step 3 years ago. 36 months was not a long time ago. That's not a generation ago. But I want you to understand that success compounds one step at a time. But those steps then make you start walking, you start running, you start flying, and it's gonna happen. So if you can allow yourself to take that one step, because we're not in Vegas where you're gonna roll a dice and jackpot, and that's how success works. Success is in fact the opposite of that. It's what you do every day is what you become. So allow yourself that space. Allow yourself to understand that if in 36 months these guys can do this, we, like you all, could do the same thing in the next 90 days, 12 months, 24, 36 months with your wealth in terms of understanding, because you will have a group of people there with you back who will back you up. My biggest takeaway, being who I am today, is not me. I believe I'm no one. I believe that my strength is getting into rooms where creators, great minds think for the betterment of communities, think for the betterment of humanity, think of adding value. I like to be in those rooms. That's one of the rooms we are promising you today. Because once you get in that room, you start realizing, as Mike said, there's too much noise out there. You would get clear about things. The more you dig into us, the more excited you will get. And I think that's important to understand, that which community you want to surround yourself with based on your destination where you're going, because you're going to take you there. So that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, wonderful. Take steps. All right, Dr. Jeff, close us out. I give my 5 seconds, Phil, and we'll be out, brother. Go ahead, Jeff.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Tahir, first, thank you for your time. I know you are
Yes.
a busy guy, so we so appreciate the wisdom that you shared today. A couple of points for me is that, you brought up the point about hope. And my hope actually started in October of 2018 from a medical situation that was very, very drastic for me. And I was able to come off of 5 medications and do a lot of other things. So that was the beginning of my hope, because I had no hope. So you bring that up, and there is hope out there. It's a matter of, finding the right people, the right avenues to take a look at it and jump in on it. The second thing is that we're tools. I am a vehicle in this, this whole platform, sharing what we have to offer people. And as I mentioned earlier, we need the tools to be able to create a lifestyle to live in abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And this is one of those tools from a financial perspective, but also from a mental perspective and a physical perspective, because finances are the number one stressor in the world. So that is something to think about, because I am financially stress-free. And that is a godsend in many, many ways. So, and then you talk about community. Mike, I can't extend, or I must extend, not can't, I must extend a heartfelt and a powerful thank you for the visionary leader that you are, as the Hounds King himself, because you're building an incredible platform. It's a movement, a thriving ecosystem of entrepreneurs that you're empowering us. You're empowering these individuals to be supportive, to connect, and to create strategic collaborations and work in unity, as Dr. Tahir said, for the betterment of humanity, because this is what we're all about. We're all about those tools that will help us get to the next level, all for the betterment of humanity. And that is what I love about this. This platform that I'm involved with here with DaMeta, with the tokenization of real estate, with the Hounds of Business community. It's been a very, very powerful tool and a godsend for me. And I'm very, very appreciative of, being part of your organizations, being a friend, being a mentor, so forth and so on. So thank you so much for both of you. And I'm truly, truly grateful, and hope to see those of you in the audience reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Let me share information with you. Let's see what perks in your head about these new ideas that are changing the world for the future, from a financial perspective, as well as a health perspective, because I talk to so many people, they're totally stressed out about their finances. So there are ways out. Thank you.
My pleasure. Tahir, Jeff, I tell you what, it's all about heart to me, man. It's all about it. So you guys have scores of heart, and thank you. And folks, if you took nothing else away, courage before confidence. Courage before, take the steps. So what? Hey, folks don't know this, Tahir. When I put this hat on and dared to be myself, you know what happened the very next day? I got beat up on a live stream. No. Everybody say, oh, it just happened. Yeah, because we're the overnight success that took 40 years. That's what people don't get. And we went through garbage. But folks, do it anyway. The world needs you. If you're willing to give up your safety and security of your corporate job, if you're willing to put skin in the game, that's why we exist. So if you're out there floating around inspired, but you have no action step, you don't have the support system, you're in that turmoil. I want to be somebody, do something special, but I have no way to realize that. That's why we exist. Hounds of Business, shameless plug. Find us on YouTube. All right. You can find me on LinkedIn, Redneck1, or you can send an old school carrier pigeon. I still get those, folks. So, but I appreciate this comments, folks, Hounds, friends of the Hounds. You guys are amazing. We'll see you back Wednesday, all right, 7 p.m. next week, Eastern U.S. time. It's going to be amazing, folks. I appreciate you. Hey, stop bury your head in the sand. Go out there and make an impact, dadgummit. Join us if you like. Do it anyway, all right? Be good, folks. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks,
on the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.